Welcome back to the Deep Dig Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew, and my other host right here next to me.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. Today we're going to be touching base on a whole lot. So, big news with Jimmy Garoppolo and the Raiders. We're going to be touching base on that whole situation. The Cardinals are a barn fire right now. They just released Deandre Hopkins for nothing. Tom Brady, where does he fit in with all of this? All that and more. But before we get into that, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe. If you're listening on audio, we have a YouTube. If you're on YouTube, we have this pod on all audio platforms. Listen to us while you're driving, doing whatever. Feel free to leave some comments, rate 5 stars, all that good stuff.
Are you ready to enter the Raiderverse? Shout out. You know that movie's coming out this weekend? The Spider-Verse, Miles Morales.
Oh,
Spider-Man movie.
I did not know that, but is that the second one or the third one?
It's the second one, yeah. It's
All
been
right, the
5
first one-
years since the first one. Everyone loved it. They're saying this is the best Spider-Man movie coming up.
I don't know. I feel like No Way Home was pretty good.
Well, this does link to a football story because
Okay.
star of the Spider-Verse movie, Haley Steinfeld, is dating Josh Allen now.
Dang.
So, True Grit, Pitch Perfect star.
I feel like Josh Allen is just a real salt of the earth guy. I don't know if he fits in with the Hollywood vibes. Is this going to change him? Is this going to make him a worse quarterback? Let me know. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, is he going Aaron Rodgers Hollywood on us? So
He's not dating a witch yet, though. After this, after Haley Steinfeld, it's a witch. Right after, that's going to be the transition.
Keep Miles Teller away from Josh Allen.
Don't let them go to Hawaii together.
We'll see. Now we can talk about the Raiders because everyone is going crazy about this Jimmy Garoppolo news. There is a clause in his contract because Jimmy, it turns out his ankle was worse than what we thought. He needed surgery. The Raiders still wanted to sign him, so they was in an addendum G?
Yep.
Addendum G for Jimmy G in the contract. They can basically get out of it if Jimmy G's not ready for training camp, ready for week 1. What can you make of what's going on with this guy?
I mean, first reaction was no way. Like, there's no way. And then this is the first time we heard about the surgery this past offseason. Well, it turns out from reports that I've seen that apparently the 49ers medical staff misdiagnosed Jimmy Garoppolo. So when he went to go actually sign with the Las Vegas Raiders, so the 49ers staff was like, hey, nope, with your Liz Frank injury in your foot, we should be fine. It doesn't require surgery. You should be good to go. It's going to heal on its own. He's like, cool, good to go. He goes the entire offseason. He signs with the Raiders. They bring him in for a physical. He fails, and they say, hey, actually, this was misdiagnosed. You need surgery. So let's go ahead and do that. They knock it out. They have this provision if he's not ready by training camp or regular season. Do you know?
We're going to have to look that up. Is it week 1? If he's not ready by
week one, it'll actually thank you, producer Chris.
Yeah, we got a guy behind the camera.
If he's not ready by week 1, they can go ahead and fully negate his entire contracts. But I don't think they're going to do it. What's the benefit of them doing that?
What I'm saying, like, yeah, what's the harm in just waiting a couple extra weeks for your starting quarterback rather than we are going to roll with Brian Hoyer or a rookie the rest of the season?
There's no way. I mean, unless you're just going to full on tank for Caleb Williams, which I don't think Josh McDaniels has that in his arsenal. You don't have that in your arsenal, bruv.
You got to win this year. Like Devontae Adams is going to want out.
Well, he was on the hot seat coming off of last year. So it didn't work out with Derek Carr. You decided to part ways with him. Now you lost out on Aaron Rodgers. You lost out on Tom Brady, supposedly, quotation marks. And your big swing in free agency was getting Jimmy Garoppolo. This was it. You didn't draft anyone when you were tied to Will Levis in the early rounds, and you actually had the opportunity to go and get him. So it's just one of those things. You really boxed yourself. You painted yourself into the corner. And now you got to wait for it to dry.
And you didn't even get a safety net of like a signing Stidham again, get a Mike White, Gardner Minshew, like just a guy that
Taylor
could be
Heineke,
a bridge starter. And I mean, Hoyer, I guess, is the low level one of those guys. But we've seen it already. We've seen enough of Hoyer to know that he's a clipboard guy.
He's a tank general.
He's a clipboard, yeah.
He's a tank general. Like, that's what the 49ers did with him. You know what I mean? Just tanked, got a good pick. Hey, thank you, Hoyer. We appreciate it. But Josh McDaniels doesn't have that. He doesn't have that time. So what is your next best option? If I'm them, like, I would just keep Jimmy Garoppolo. If you don't want to keep Jimmy Garoppolo, what do? You go and get Carson Wentz? Do you call up the Saints? My first thing would be call up the Saints, ask for Derek Carr. Nah, but what I would do is actually call up the Saints, ask for Jameis Winston.
I'd even go with like a Taysom Hill at this point.
Bro, like anything. I would just, hey, you have Jameis, you just drafted Jake Haener. But I think what's really going to fuck the Raiders on this is the new Brock Purdy, quote unquote, Brock Purdy rule, where you can carry and actually dress 3 quarterbacks and have one be an emergency quarterback that doesn't count as your active roster. So I think more teams are actually going to hold and hoard quarterbacks throughout this entire offseason, and maybe even into the season. We're going to see teams that have 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, you don't think the Dolphins are going to carry extra quarterbacks? The Niners are going to carry extra quarterbacks. Like, any team with a mobile quarterback is going to have extra quarterbacks, and the pool of quarterbacks that can lead your team for a full season is already small. And now you're asking, like, Raiders, you don't get a free agency to find someone. You don't get a draft to find someone. We're asking you in training camp, find a guy to be your franchise quarterback. Like, doesn't make sense.
All right, I just thought about this. Hear me out. What if they reach out to the Jets and they're like, hey, you fucking hate the number 2 overall pick.
Don't do this to the Raiders.
We need a guy. Can you send him over? We'll give you a 5th round pick. You're not getting anything better than that, realistically. If you're the Jets, would you do it?
If I'm the Jets, I'm doing it in a heartbeat. Like, here's Zach Wilson. Let's just get off him. I don't think he's going to be good for our locker room. If I'm the Raiders, it's a shot in the dark. It's a complete shot in the dark.
But if you're McDaniels, you can just be like, hey, you know what? We took a flyer on a guy that had a really high ceiling. Does this buy me another year? I really hope so. Like, you've seen what I can do with, not so good quarterbacks. It's not great, but I can run the ball with Josh Jacobs, who we haven't signed.
Well, what's interesting to me is there's a little bit of rumors around there that the Raiders could be interested in trading for Trey Lance. And I'm like, wow, the Raiders could get a full 49ers experience of banged up Jimmy Garoppolo and banged up Trey Lance. Like, welcome to our world.
I think realistically, like, it's not going to happen. They're not going to trade Trey Lance. I don't think it's happening this offseason, especially with the Brock Purdy rule now. Like, you can have an emergency quarterback. Why not keep all 3 of these guys? Had it not happened where you can dress all 3 quarterbacks, realistically, I think they would have cut Trey Lance. I think they would trade it. Like, yeah, I don't know who would have traded for him. I think you would have just wait for him to get cut if he doesn't beat out Sam Darnold. But I think now with that rule, that really breathes life into Trey Lance as like, I'm going to be here on this roster. If someone gets hurt, I'm just one step away from starting or at least seeing some playing time.
Yeah, and if he beats out Sam Darnold, then Sam Darnold's the 3rd quarterback, and he's like, well, I'm suiting up, and I'm here just in case too.
Yeah.
So
it works out for all of them. And I think that Brock Purdy rule does change the dynamics of specifically the 49ers QB room.
Yeah, well, let us know in the comments. Would you cut Jimmy G? Are you going to hold on to him even though he's injured? If you're Devontae, how pissed are you?
So, oh my God, that's a whole nother angle right there.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments. Want to move on to the next thing, kind of surrounding this, but Tom Brady trying to become part-time owner. We talked about it last week. We were kind of questioning what his role would be, but now it's an even bigger question of what his role would be, because people are saying like, well, he can make himself the starting quarterback of the Raiders, but now it's not that simple. I think we just learned that if he's going to become a minority owner, it's still not passed. It's under review. He needs 24 of the owners to approve that.
Which he'll get if he
has to. They're thinking of adding something in the rules that he needs to fully retire in order to become a minority owner. So, the teams in the league are kind of worried about this. They don't want it to happen. And if he was to become a minority owner and he wants to play, he needs every single team to agree to let him play. So the chances of him playing as an owner, being Jackie Moon, it's basically like 0. because not every team is going to be like, yeah, you know what? Tom Brady play for $2,000 and, just pay yourself owner money. Don't pay yourself as a quarterback. Let the Raiders have extra cap space and you be their starting quarterback.
But like, realistic, it's not like this is a new thing. Like, we even talked about George Kittle. George Kittle doesn't make top dollar. Yeah, he makes top dollar for a tight end, but tight ends, considering, the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, now even the corners make more DNs probably make more money, but he's not a premium position. So you supplement that with all of these brand deals that he has now, and you don't think like the 49ers are like, hey, we got you this, buddy. Here you go.
The Zenny, or is it?
Yeah, Zenny, and then what's the other one that we just did a nude shoot with?
Go look at Kittle's Instagram if you're interested in seeing him only wearing a pineapple.
He's fucking ripped, dude. He's ripped. He's ripped his shreds. So I'm excited. I think he's gonna have an awesome season this year. That's a good sign for me. If he's like just fucking yoked, let's go. That's good. But anyways, I think that just let him play. Let him strap it up. Let him get out there one more time, guys. Come on.
It's different because, just looking at the 49ers, players on that team have taken pay cuts, but they get money from sponsorships and other deals that most likely the 49ers set up. It's just like too convenient. Like, Kittle gets a new contract and every billboard and every bar station, it's a picture of George Kittle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just lines up so perfect. But none of those players are owners. That's where the line gets muddy, where it's you can't really hide the collusion from fans and be like, oh yeah, he's an owner, but don't worry, it's fair. Like,
but wasn't that the main thing with Tom Brady anyways? Like, he always took a pay cut because he had his supermodel wife who made more money than him. So he was like, I'm comfortable. I'm good. Let's build out the rest of this team. So it's not like this would be something new or like unheard of. What would be unheard of if Aaron Rodgers took a fucking pay cut, which he's never doing. You know what I mean? So like, that's not out of character for Tom Brady specifically, because Tom Brady's been doing that his entire career.
But then he's going to get owner salary on the side.
It's not like it's going to be a crazy owner salary. Like, if you think about it, he's only going to be a minority owner. He's only going to earn a small percentage of what the franchise can really pay out. So do I think it's going to be like a crazy stipulation? Like, that's kind of stupid.
You're the Broncos.
Oh, I'm saying no immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Say you're the Chargers and you're going to fight with them for a playoff spot. Why would I bail out the Raiders and say, here's a quarterback. Here's a franchise quarterback.
If I'm the Patriots, I say no.
Yeah.
Right?
If I'm the Bucks, I say no.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the teams would say no. It's like, well, if you're going to go be an owner, go be an owner. But like, if
the Dolphins say no.
But what's stopping Tom Brady from just saying, you know what, let's put a pause on that. Let me go play a year and then I'll go be an owner.
What if he doesn't get the approval then? Because he pissed off a lot of the owners. You know what I mean? That's kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity. When, like, Tom, you've been strapping it up for the last, 25, 30 years, dog. But this is your one shot at actually getting in to a very small, if you think about like, okay, quarterback in the NFL is a very small fraternity. Owner in the NFL is an even smaller fraternity of dudes. And this is your one shot. I think you just don't do anything to mess it up. Like, look how hard it is to truly break into ownership. So I think you got to just kind of roll with it. Hey, you know what? If I'm really serious about it, I'm done. Like, I can go ahead and throw out like, hey, I would really like to play. And, if we can pursue that, but it's going to get shot down. Do you really want to piss off however many people? Because you still need 24 of the owners to actually say, yeah, hey, Tom, you can go ahead and take a minority stake in the Raiders.
Well, I mean, you guys let us know in the comments. Do you think it's fair that Tom Brady can be an owner and play? Do you think he should be allowed to? Or do you think he should just, sit in the owner's box, make decisions? Let us know. Move on to DeAndre Hopkins. I saw he got released. They announced the release, but they didn't technically release him. They're kind of, that bullshit move that the teams pull where they're like, we're releasing him, but they don't, and they're hoping for a last-second trade.
Yeah.
But
It ain't happening.
Yeah, it's not happening. So maybe by now he's actually released. But I think the Chiefs were in on him right now.
I heard it's an arms race between the Chiefs and the Bills right now.
Yeah, but the Ravens low-key are in the background.
They just paid Odell Beckham Jr. a shit ton of money. I doubt they're going to be... Where are they going to pull this cap space from? This is like the worst time to release DeAndre Hopkins. It does a disservice to him as the player because all of the cap space is kind of drawn out. Like, if you're going to make a move for DeAndre Hopkins, one, how much money... Like, if I'm him, well, first off, this is bad for him. This is bad for the Cardinals because you got nothing from it. So you're basically... And you're going to eat all his salary. You're eating 22 mil. So what was the point of that? You're basically being like, he's a cancer to this locker room. We can't do it. And it's a locker room that is kind of cancerous already. So why not just eat it?
It's, I think, to save cap space for next season. I think they saved like, I want to say like 9 to 15 mil, which isn't like that great. Maybe I'm wrong on my numbers, but I know they saved cap space next season.
They would have saved cap space if they had got rid of him for a 7th round pick.
They would have actually used 22 mil of cap space this year on a receiver.
Yeah,
that would have played for their team.
So
I would have kept him and just said, hey, you're gonna play for us or you're gonna sit at home and watch. But is him getting paid that money still? Should he just take a pay cut and go to a contender, or is he still playing like I'm gonna get my check still?
Coming off of his PED suspension, a season where he didn't look that great, a season where he quit on his team. Like, I don't know if you've seen that report that the Cardinals were actually super pissed off at him that he could have played and voluntarily sat out the last 2 games. And apparently Cliff King, I was reading some of the quotes that Kingsbury had given that he was like, oh, if these were meaningful games, DeAndre would play. But it's a nagging injury, so we just decided to shelf him for now. Of course, Kingsbury didn't end up coming back. He got fired. But I don't know. I just think it was just one of those things where this is already the second team where DeAndre Hopkins is kind of burned out. It happened with Bill O'Brien and the Texans. It happened here with the Cardinals. Maybe they're both, because they were both, dumpster fire organizations at the time. But it doesn't, spell great odds for what DeAndre Hopkins is.
Is he like the least sought out after like top 10 receiver? Like, other teams are not, like the Texans to the Cardinals move was not great. No one was really pushing crazy, giving him a crazy package for them. And now the Cardinals don't get anything for him. So it's like, why aren't teams going all out, like give a 2nd round pick and just get him, get a 3rd round pick and just get him?
I think because he's aging, and you just don't know how his game is going to age.
And the price tag. He's not a great practice player, so that kind of rules out if you have a young quarterback. You really want a guy who's going to be able to get in there and want to do extra work with him. It's just one of those, like, I just don't think he's he is obviously highly thought of as a receiver. You are scared of him when you face his offense, but it's like, would I rather have him or would I rather take a chance on a rookie? I'd rather take a chance on a rookie. I think there was a time, maybe 2 years ago, where AJ Green looked like the better receiver for a while.
Yeah.
And that's like, DeAndre Hopkins is supposed to be top 10-ish in the league. I think the Bills and Chiefs are great destinations. I would go to the Bills if I was him. And I would take a pay cut. Because Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and him.
Yeah.
It's pretty good 3 lineup right there.
I could see it coming out of left field that the Patriots take a flyer on him. They free up cap and they go and get him. I know that was the talk of the end of last year. Like, okay, Bill Belichick came out and just gave a glowing review of DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins does need a place to go. They need a number 1 weapon. I think that'd be a really good move for the Patriots specifically. But if he wants to go to one of these top 10 quarterbacks, he is going to have to take a pay cut just considering where they're at in their cap space. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know Patrick Mahomes said that they're loaded at receiver. He likes Kadarius Toney. So they're not going to complain if they don't get him.
Yeah. So I think it's not going to be a top tier team. I think it's going to be one of those, 5 to 15
Raiders.
teams. No.
I supposedly he's talking with Deshaun Watson and reconnecting in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Well, let us know in the comments, where do you think he is going to land? Is it going to be with a contender, with a smaller team? Let us know.
Who knows? Who knows?
I have no idea. I just want to wrap up today with a little bit of basketball.
Basketball is my favorite sport.
Please don't.
Okay, I'm done. Copyright. It's just because copyright.
Did you see Bob Myers step down actually as GM of the Warriors? And now there's like all kinds of stuff.
Get
all kinds
Clay
of rumors.
the fuck out of there, baby. Fuck. Yeah.
So now they're saying, okay, Lake Up is maybe going to put his son there. Or it's going to be Dunleavy Jr. They're saying maybe Steve Kerr would be the GM and we get a new coach. There's rumors that Steve Kerr could go to San Antonio and replace Popovich.
Do you think Pop is really going to give up coaching
in
Wembanyama?
like a year?
Okay, I was going to say, there's no way in hell. He's like primed for this. He's ready to go. It's
how
pretty
do you
crazy.
feel about Bob Myers?
Awesome run. I think he has to go up in the Ring of Honor. I think it's going to be tough. Like, who is going to have that same give? And I think it's going to be kind of good because it's going to be a new regime now. And now you can make some moves that maybe Bob Myers wasn't going to do. Like, I know before that they were thinking about trading Kuminga, Moody, and looking at Poole. I'd be fine with giving away Poole, but realistically, you need Clay to step down and take a lesser role or get rid of him altogether while he still has a little bit of value. I think you flirt around with what can we get for Draymond, and you really just start to build around Steph. What Steph needs is, dynamic wings, defense. We need a big man that can do something. Like, I'd be fine with going and getting like a Karl Anthony Towns to play with Steph. I think that'd be a pretty good matchup. But I think now with new blood in that spot, it opens up the possibilities as far as what we can do. And I think we've seen kind of the players, not like every player, but obviously the big three, Clay, Dre, and Steph, like, we're super comfortable with Bob. And that's a good thing. But when it comes down to like, hey, we got to make some changes here, it could be a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm hoping the new GM does bring in a fresh perspective. I'm hoping, if it is Lake Up or Dunleavy Jr., like, I hope it's not just like a nepotism and they're just going to do whatever like is marketable.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for someone outside that comes in and gives a fresh take on it and is willing to make moves, because it's felt like we're going to stick with these things that work and we're going to hopefully draft some good guys. And then Kerr is like, well, I'm not going to use the drafted guys.
Hey, no. I'm good.
Like, are we going to get someone who's not willing to waste like 5 bench spots?
Yeah.
And like Iguodala, I love you, but you got to retire because
just be a coach.
You're just wasting
such an easy transition.
You're wasting a roster spot for us that we could use in the playoffs. Use him as coach. I know Udonis Haslem is doing the same thing for Miami, but man, they look good. We need another spot. I think next year's our window. Next year is like the last part of this team's window to win a title, because with the new CBA, the year after we're fucked, like cap wise, with the Jordan Poole deal and Steph, and it's just like already we're so far over the second like umbrella of what we're supposed to not be over, unless we trade Jordan Poole this summer. Like,
I know big moves are gonna. Something has to happen. You cannot waste prime Steph years, and I think this year showed you like he can't do it with the team as is. And
we can't afford to pay Steph, to pay Jordan Poole, to pay Clay, and to pay Draymond. Like we literally
Wiggins,
the rules
too.
And Wiggins. We literally, as the rules are getting put into place, we can't afford them. So we need to start shifting how we're doing things, and whether that's like Clay, you take like a really
Massive
really low pay. Draymond, we're gonna rework your thing. I think it's gonna be Steph as the highest paid, and then it has to be Wiggins. Because what other wing are we getting that comes at like such a great value? Like, he does everything well, and so we need him on the team. And then Jordan Poole, if you're not the future of the team, then you got to kick rocks, guy. Like,
and I think you can get maximum value for Jordan Poole right now.
And you could turn his contract into 3 role players.
Yeah. Or even just like a solid almost star and 1 more role player. Like, I think that's perfect.
And we got to get a backup center.
Need to. Like, Looney is awesome, but he can't do everything by himself. And as soon as Looney steps off the court, the rebounding goes to shit.
Yeah. Especially with the aging Draymond. Like, we just want to take the load off. And yeah, if we keep him, he could be a great passer, a great facilitator for Steph. And if we keep Clay, yeah, he's a great spot-up shooter. But it's not the same Warriors where, like, Clay's going to lock down their best player and he's going to score 30. Draymond's going to be lights out on defense and cover 1 through 5. And he's going to, like, get a double-double.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't even matter who the center is. Like, that, it's not like that anymore. We really need to focus on team building. Just filling out that roster and making it, like, to 9 to 10 deep.
Yeah, and I mean, it does hurt that you whiffed on the James Wiseman pick.
Yeah.
You're really hurting on that right now. You would have hoped it panned out. Obviously, it didn't. You pivoted pretty, like, when you needed to. But now it's time to retool, and you really got to build around Steph. You can't waste one of these years.
We'll see what happens. Staying in the basketball world, NBA Finals coming up. Miami Heat came through. Like, we weren't stressed at all about it after we predicted the Heat. We talked all about the Heat going to the finals.
Well, we thought it was going to be a sweep. When we last were on this pod, we were like in the middle of the game, like, oh yeah, this is going to be a sweep, right? And we're like, yeah, sweep. They made us sweat. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
but it ended up happening.
What's the most exciting thing in that matchup? Nuggets Heat.
I had forgotten about this, but apparently the Nuggets and the Heat have beef. Like, reoccurring beef, and I'm excited for it. I think that Jimmy Butler is at this point where he is talking all the shit and he's backing it up. Jokic is maybe the best player in the NBA right now. Maybe, like,
I think he could be.
I think. Well, let's say he wins the title this year. He just coming off back-to-back MVPs. He should have won it this year. I think that this is the era of Jokic. If the Warriors don't get their shit together, it's going to be a Jokic, dominated maybe next 5 years.
Yeah, because the West is pretty crazy right now, and the East is kind of lacking other than those top 2 teams, Boston and Miami.
Yeah,
so,
and who knows what Boston's going to do. They have to pay 2 Supermax deals for a guy that can't dribble and one that doesn't have a dog in him. So
he rolled his ankle, man.
Oh, my ankle. The fucking guys who want to be Kobe so bad just can't be Kobe. Him and Devin Booker, they both suck when it comes to clutch. But whatever.
Yeah, I seen Jimmy Butler didn't even want to hold the trophy.
Oh yeah, I did see that clip.
Because he's ready for the finals.
I'll hold the next one.
And then did you see? I think one of the WNBA coaches, probably the one in Miami, she said that Jimmy asked if she wanted finals tickets to watch the Heat before the playoffs started.
Oh yeah, and he booked their flight to Denver before the last game, the game 7.
Jimmy is
they're
like
dogs.
Jimmy's him. He's just cashing every fucking check he's writing.
It's pretty awesome to see. I think watching the Celtics Heat series, I'm like, there's no way they keep up with the Nuggets, right? Like, coming off of looking so dominant, like, but
that's every game though. Like, I watch the Heat sometimes and I'm like, how are they even scoring? Like, they're not good.
Caleb Martin.
And then they just like go on a tear and they go on like a 12-0 run and then they're in it. And I'm just like, I seen the tweet. They were like, the Nuggets, they're like disciplined, teamwork, passing, like all around good. And they're like the Miami Heat, the power of friendship.
It's true.
They just got that dog in them.
But that's going to be an awesome matchup. I'm actually really excited for it. I know we talked about it last time. Like, a lot of people aren't, but I'm all for it. This is going to be badass.
Yeah, I mean, every time I feel like I see the other team and I'm like, no way Miami has a chance, and then Miami just proves that they're good, and I'm all for. I'm a huge Jimmy Butler fan, so.
But the Nuggets are just so excellent, dude.
We thought that about Boston.
No, but
the talent level on Boston.
I never believed in that team. Again, their two best players. Well, the number one guy, the alpha dog, is fucking Marcus Smart. Like, let's go ahead and be real. Like, Marcus Smart was the one who took that shot at the end of Game 6 because he thinks he's the number one. You know what I mean?
I mean, their best player might be Derek White at this point.
But it's like, bro, you're going to be paying these guys $500 million combined.
I thought it was like, how frustrating would it be if you have two Supermax guys and then in a Game 7, they're running the offense through Derek White? Like, everything goes through Derek White. And it's like, okay, good for him. Like, he's doing great. But what are we paying these guys for? Like,
yeah. So, no, I never believed in Boston. Boston slander all day.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have for today.
Yep. All right. Go ahead and hit that like button again. Comment. Subscribe. We really appreciate you.
See ya.
Later.